Former congressman and veteran of this very roundtable, Tom Tancredo, announced this week that he'll be joining the already crowded 2018 Republican gubernatorial primary race. According to the Denver Post, Tancredo considers himself a shoo-in, stating his GOP nomination is, quote, a done deal. Almost. It's nice to add a little humility there, Tom. He is the 8th candidate to join the 2018 Republican primary to date. Patty, just when we thought we were going to have another boring Republican primary, Tom Tancredo gives us an early Christmas present, and Floyd Cerulli, one of the panelists who would sit next to him at this roundtable years ago, as you started the show, actually did a poll and already shows Tancredo at 22%. Now, that might be his floor and his ceiling, but it already shows, at least in that poll, as a front-runner. Do you think he is the front-runner already?
Well, with 8 Republican candidates, 22% could make you the front-runner. This is, of course, delicious for us at this roundtable. This is the 3rd gubernatorial campaign of Tom Tancredo's we'll be able to talk about. The first he ran as an independent and wound up getting, what, 36% of the vote because Dan Mays was such a bad Republican candidate. The second time he came in barely behind Bo Prey in the primary, but he also faced a lot of opposition there. There were 4 candidates, I think, then. Now we have 8. So you're splitting that pie much, much smaller. So if Tom's faithful are really faithful, he can grab a few more. He could come away with the primary. The other thing is you have anybody is eligible to vote in the primary with our new amendment. So you could decide you're going to go vote Republican in that primary, not Democrat, not independent. And that allows for a lot of tricky maneuvering for those who think, hey, it would be great, for Democrats who think, hey, or independents, hey, it'd be great to have Tancredo as the primary nominee because he's going to be harder. He's going to have a harder path with more centrist Coloradans in the final election. So there's a lot of opportunities and endless opportunities for us to talk about it here.
I really do feel it's almost just a gift. You thought, hey, have I done anything for Colorado Inside Out lately? Well, here you go. Might be other rationale, but maybe that is. Amy, there's currently 8 candidates in the gubernatorial primary race for the Republican Party. I will admit I'm a political junkie. I love getting into it. I love my friends and family will ask me about politics. But even when I looked at the pictures of all 8 candidates, I was stumped on a couple. So how many of those 8 get to, let's say, next March, when the real heat begins to come on, when it's 3 months before the primary? What do you think is our contingent at that point, and is Tancredo still the front runner?
Wow, good questions, and also that might be, we should do a game show. Name all 8 Republican candidates. Are you smarter than a political junkie? No,
that's a really easy question. Yes, of course, people are, yes, but you can go ahead.
Almost everybody is. You know, you'll start to see some weeding out, but the thing is, some of these have nothing to lose by staying in because they're not, I mean, it's not like they're raising a lot of money and they're not really spending a lot of money. They are there, they can take 1 or 2 points away from somebody who might be a proverbial front runner. And then, which I actually think in a 4-6-way race, Tom Tancredo has an excellent opportunity simply by his sheer name recognition. And the other thing is he has the policy chops. I mean, he is a guy who's been around, he knows policy, everybody knows his stance on many things. So that idea of that I'm not certain he could do, there could be some kind of October or March surprise that would doom a Tancredo candidacy. And I think he also, I think that he forces the other candidates to be a little bolder, a little more interesting. I feel like they've been playing prevent defense for the last few months, and that they will now have to go out and actually come up with stronger strategies to actually go on offense and win. I think Tom Tancredo forces them to do that.
Eric, back in '98, when Tancredo won his seat for Congress in CD6, you would know for sure. My memory tells me that I think it was a 5-way primary, and that was the contributor. There wasn't really a big front runner, but he's able to make his way. He has a long political career here in Colorado, so people have known him for a long time. What effect does Tancredo's entry to this primary make on the rest of the primary race?
Well, it certainly shakes it up. It changes the dynamics in ways both good for the Republicans in that it attracts attention, but ultimately I think harmful and damaging to Republicans. I keep thinking we've seen this play before with Tom, and we have seen it. This is the third gubernatorial election in a row. It doesn't end happily. This play doesn't have a happy ending for Tom Tancredo. It doesn't have a happy ending for the Republican Party. I'm starting to think that running for office is just what Tom does. It's, later in his career, this is who he is. And every 4 years, he will find, sometimes every 2 years, he will find something to run for. I do think ultimately this becomes a nightmare for Republicans in a multi-candidate kind of race. He has every opportunity to win it. Now, we still haven't heard from one potential candidate, that being Cynthia Kaufman, and that would also shake up and change dynamics. So that could be a ninth entrant and another serious one in this race. I saw Channel 4 on their website the other day had a headline saying, Tancredo denies being white supremacist. When you are forced to, when that kind of issue is where press gets traction, where this primary election is going to be fought, that is not where Republicans want to be. The Republican Party, since they've sort of been in troubled straits in this state since really 2002, 2004, when the state started dramatically shifting complexion, the Republican Party has given away so many elections by picking the wrong candidate. And there's every potential here that this will be another one.
So Ed, clearly Tom Tancredo has an advantage when it comes to the anti-establishment. He's already used a variation of Donald Trump's.
Even though he's the most established candidate in the race. But go ahead.
Exactly.
Yes. No.
Dripping with irony. Yes, it is. I will absolutely give you that. But does, I guess, either the establishment or moderates, whatever you want to call it in the Republican Party, that don't want to see Tom Tancredo take this race where it's going to go after a primary, do they begin to try to coalesce around a candidate, whether it is drafting Cynthia Kaufman, whether it's Walker Stapleton, whether it's George Brockler, or somebody else? Do you think because the Republican Party in Colorado really isn't all that anti-establishment, that they begin to coalesce around somebody as another answer?
Yeah, I actually do think that's a possibility. I was going to try to throw some water on everybody's feelings that Tancredo is about to cruise to the primary win here. I mean, you think about it. Just 2 years ago, last year. That's the Trump wave. That's when the anti-establishment came forward. Trump got 0 Colorado delegates. In fact, the Colorado delegates tried to lead a revolt at the Republican National Convention against Trump. Now, I mean, we were for Ted Cruz in this state, who isn't by any chance an establishment candidate, but completely mainstream compared to Trump. And so it gives you this sense that maybe Colorado's not caught up in this national wave of populism that has sent Trump into the position he's in right now. The other thing I will say, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but we've seen this in primaries before, from state level down to mayoral primaries. If somebody realizes that they are not going to win this and that their being in there could take 7 to 10 points away from somebody and catapult someone they really don't want to be the nominee, you could see them drop out. Now, I'm not going to point fingers and say whether that's going to be George Brockler, Walker Stapleton, Doug Robinson, but come that critical time, you might see one of those pull out, endorse another one, and throw some momentum behind the anti-Tancredo wave. So yeah, I think this is far from a fait accompli. In fact, I think he's still got a big hurdle to cross to get that nomination.